All right. Welcome to episode 3 of the Some of Us podcast, where some of us really like the Disney Plus show The Mandalorian. Now, if you haven't seen Mandalorian Season 1, I highly recommend it. And of course, there are spoilers for this episode, because this episode will be talking about The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, which aired October 30th, and it is absolutely fantastic. Now, I'll give you time to click away from this podcast. Seriously, click away, because I know some people will probably get really angry about me talking about this. Go on. Click away. Okay, since all the plebs are out of the room, now we can start talking about Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, called... Hold on, I completely forget. I'm talking about how amazing this episode is. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've forgotten. Okay, the Marshal, which ties into what we'll see later in the episode. So this episode of season 3 of episode 3 of Some of This podcast, we'll be talking about this amazing show. Now, let me just preface saying that I am a huge Star Wars nerd, and I watched episode 1, season 2 with family, and I could not shut up with all of the little hints and glints of Star Wars lore thrown across the universe into this small, tiny episode. Now, this will be coming out Monday the 2nd, and on Friday the 6th is when season 2, episode 2 comes out, and I'm super excited. I cannot wait to find out what happens because of the little secrets at the end of this episode. Let's see here. Wow. So right now, The Mandalorian is... I'm obviously sucking up to it. There are a lot of great TV shows out there, but like streaming shows, but The Mandalorian has to be number one for me. I watched season 1 3 times now. The first time I experienced The Mandalorian was about 2 months ago. Someone had given me their Disney Plus pass, and I was like, obviously the only reason I have this Disney Plus is because I want to listen and watch The Mandalorian. Ludwig Göransson and his amazing music backing amazing cinematography of the show. There are so many notable directors for this show, mainly Jon Favreau and Taika Waititi. Jon Favreau had directed some Marvel movies, notably Iron Man, and Taika Waititi did Thor. Which one did he do? Taika Waititi did... Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Taika Waititi. I can't even spell his name right. Taika Waititi. He's from New Zealand. Amazing. He played Krog in the Thor movie. He directed Thor Ragnarok and Jojo Rabbit. And in 2022, Thor Love and Thunder. So, and there are many other famous directors, but those two I could point out. I don't know who directed season 2, episode 1. I'm guessing it's Jon Favreau. And the talk a month ago about how Pedro Pascal said he wanted to quit because he wanted to show his face more as the Mandalorian. But as you know, the creed of Mandalore says that you cannot show your face. And everyone's like, oh, they made him quit. He went to go to the Lucas executives and stuff. And no, that was all just speculation. And that was just put out there for, I guess it was a publicity stunt. But Pedro Pascal is still there, still kicking and rocking Mando Denjarin. I cannot wait to talk about this episode. So... let's get into it. Season 2, Episode 1, The Marshal. And it features some heavy spaghetti western motifs and stuff, and it also has some great CGI. There's a freaking dragon in this episode. I might just have to watch it again after recording this podcast. I am recording it. I usually say I record it on Saturdays. I am recording it Monday before I usually upload, because I wanted to come see family this weekend because I haven't seen those guys in forever. I do not have my boom arm, so if audio sounds a little weird, it's because it is. My boom arm is actually my actual human arm for my microphone. So if you pick up desk noises, or if the microphone gets too close, too far, too close to my face, it's because I'm using my actual fleshy meat of an arm for my boom stand mic. Boom arm mic. I just had a stroke. All right. The Marshal. I did not. Unfortunately, I just took an exam before this, and instead of the exam, I wanted to write my own recap of the TV show. But right now, I am on the Forbes website, which gives a small recap of the show. And let's go over it. I'm not going to read the Forbes word for word, but you can go to Forbes.com. Oh, excuse me, my voice. You can go to Forbes.com to see, and it's titled The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, Recap and Review, The Marshal. I will not be reading the review. I will just be reading the recap, but not all the way because I don't want to steal their words. Plagiarism sucks. The Mandalorian is back in a very big way. The show's longest, most lavishly blockbuster episode kicks off Season 2 with a bang and a krayt dragon. For those who do not know, a krayt dragon is the signet that the Mandalorians wear. You know how, let's see here. You know how Mando and the child have the signet of the Mudhorn? The signet of the Mandalorians is a krayt dragon. So it all starts off with Mando is in this unforetold world. It didn't say where he was, but he goes to talk to this guy named Koresh. And it's played by John Leguizamo? What? He hated being in that Mario and Luigi movie back in the 80s. But he's a one-eyed Cyclops character. They go to this like fighting arena where some aliens, I don't remember, two Gamorreans. You've seen Gamorreans in previous Star Wars movies, and Return of the Jedi, episode 6 of Star Wars. Is that correct? Return of the Jedi? Yes, sir, it is. Gamorrean guards are those like green pig-shaped things. They were at Jabba's palace and stuff. So two Gamorreans are fighting in this like boxing ring with these like huge weapons. And Koresh is first of all, Mando is like, hey, do you know of any other Mandalorians so I can figure out where to take the child? And Koresh goes, well, I really like that Beskar steel that you're wearing. Beskar steel is what Mandalorian's armor is made out of. And Mando was like, And so Koresh pulls out his blaster, kills one of the Gamorreans who's fighting, and then everybody flees the scene. Koresh, the one-eyed guy, and his goons circle Mando, and Mando's like, I ain't taking none of this. So Baby Yoda, sitting in his hovering little cradle, goes, yikes, and presses the button and hides in his little egg ship. It's really cute. I never really understood the hype for Baby Yoda when I never watched The Mandalorian when it first came out, but now that I watch it, it's like Baby Yoda all the way. He's the cutest damn thing I've ever seen in my life. It's adorable. So things do get messy. Koresh tells Mando if he gives them the armor, then he'll let him walk out alive. Mando tells him that if he gives the information, he won't kill Gor Koresh. End quote. I thought you weren't a gambling man, Koresh replies. I'm not, Mando says, and fires off his whistling birds. Season 1, the Mandalorian armorer gives these like little whistling pin needle birds, and they detect life forms, I guess. Never really explains what they do, but they detect the life forms and kills all of his guards, kills all of Koresh's guards, and the goons are down, but the other surviving Gamorrean, and there was a Twi'lek doorman that let Mando into this fighting rink, and some other fighter who looks like the same species that lives on Dathomir. Dathomir is the planet where Darth Maul is from. So he looks like a guy from Dathomir. He's got the little horns on his head. The Gamorrean, the Twi'lek, and the Dathomirian, who I forget their species name, hand-to-hand combat with Mando. Mando pulls out his vibration blade, kills the guy from Dathomir, and then does hand-to-hand combat. It's really cool. I wonder who did. I wonder who is the stunt coordinator for the Mandalorian, because gosh dang, it's pretty good. So Gor Koresh runs like the little coward he is, and naturally Mandalorian is like, you ain't getting away. I need to know where the other Mandalorians are. So he gets his little grappling hook and ties up his feet and hangs them to a street lamp. And Mando's like, you're not gonna die by my hand. And then Koresh is like, wait. There's a Mandalorian on Tatooine. And Mando's like, oh. But he's never seen a Mandalorian on Tatooine. But Koresh says, yes there is, you big dummy. So then Mando walks away, leaving Koresh hanging. He shoots the light out, leaving Koresh in the dark. And then these like red-eyed creatures on this, again, this planet that we have no idea. It has a bunch of, it's like, I'm calling it the graffiti planet, because when Mando first walks in on the first like couple minutes into the episode, there's like graffiti everywhere. There looks like a C-3PO graffiti on some of it, but he leaves Koresh hanging in the dark, and then these red-eyed creatures come in and kill Koresh, and Koresh screams. Presumably he's dead. So Mando's like, dude, gotta get to Tatooine. So Mando lands in Mos Eisley, which we know from the original trilogy, where he meets with that perm-haired lady from season 1, the one who took care of Baby Yoda and also had the pit droids. Her name is Pelimoto, who tells the mechanic droids she's like, piss off, mechanic droids, and Mando's like, no, it's okay, they can work on my ship, but it's a little rusty, it's seen better days, needs a little TLC, tender loving care. So she's like, you like droids now? And like, long story short, Mando fell in love with the IG-11 from season 1 because IG-11 saved his life, so he likes droids now. Technically he didn't fall in love, but yeah, sorry. We love IG-11. So Pelimoto says, I'll help you find the city you're looking for. The house is the Mandalorian. Mos Pelgo. So Mos Pelgo, the little city on Tatooine, it's not on a map because they pull up this data map. It's not on the map because apparently it was wiped out by bandits. But this isn't the case. We learned that Mos Pelgo has a storied past. I'm reading this word for word on the Forbes website. It's been raided by Sand People, Tusken Raiders, and was, at one point, taken over by the Mining Collective. Its citizens enslaved until they were rescued by Cobb Vanth. We'll soon find out who Cobb Vanth is. Played by Timothy Olyphant. His most notable roles were Justified. My parents watched that when I was a kid. I haven't seen it, but I heard it's pretty gosh dang good. Timmy Oliphant, good old Tom Oliphant. So Cobb Vanth, mysterious little man. So Mando gets to Mos Pelgo. As you can see, it's pretty barren. It's like one of those. Since I'm from the Midwest, I can completely compare it to some of the small towns that I've driven through. It's like one of those small towns where it's like one church, one bar, and a couple houses. That's it. Population 30. So Mos Pelgo. Oh, Peli Moto, she's taking care of Baby Yoda because she loves this child. She's like, hey, if you find any more of this creature's type, let me know because I want one of them. She's taking care of Baby Yoda, so we don't get to see the child / Baby Yoda that much. But it's okay because this episode is full of kick-ass adventure. Let's actually make sure we're recording. Yes, we are. My heart almost dropped there for a second. Yikes. So, Cobb Vanth. Mando walks into the bar with this guy. He's got really long hair. And he's like, have you seen a Mandalorian around this parts? And he's like, yeah, what did they look like? And he's like, dude, are you serious? They look just like me. So, all of a sudden, he's like, oh, yeah, our Marshal. Our Marshal looks just like you. So then all of a sudden, in the classic spaghetti western, our presumed, what we think is the antagonist, kicks open the saloon doors, and you're looking at him, and at first you're like, oh yeah, he is a Mandalorian. But then if you look a little closer, he's wearing Boba Fett's old armor. You can tell it's Boba Fett's old armor because there's a dent in the forehead of the helmet. There's also the glowing red lights on the left pec chest piece, and a little Boba Fett insignia on the right chest piece. But you're probably thinking when you look at this, that's not Boba Fett. Are you kidding me? That's a skin flint, dude. That dude doesn't even fit in the armor. But first of all, I was like, holy crap, that's Boba Fett. Because when I first watched season 1, the episode titled The Gunslinger, when the young bounty hunter and Mandalorian go find that the sniper for the Empire. I don't remember her name. And then the young kid turns his back and wants to kill Mando, so he kills the sniper. Then there's these boots that walk up to the dead lady, and there's like these spurs, like the clanking of a spur walking up to it. And first of all, I was thinking the only person to have spurs in Star Wars that I know of is Boba Fett. So I'm thinking, but excuse me, holy smokeroonies, that is Boba Fett. But as we see doors kick in, I'm thinking, holy smokes, Boba Fett. But it's not, because the Marshal walks up and says, hello, I'm guessing you're here to see me, and takes off his helmet. And then Mando's like, but excuse me? So you know he's not a Mandalorian, because the creed of the Mandalorian is if you take off your helmet in front of another living being, you cannot put on the helmet ever again. So we know this guy isn't a Mandalorian because he takes off his helmet. So this is very Wild West. Some of Ludwig Göransson's music shows that it is Wild West because it has some of those Wild West spaghetti tropes. Sorry, I'm not talking here. Is my computer charging now? It is charging, guys. I would have had to redo the first 20 minutes of this episode. Is it 20 minutes? If I say it's 20 minutes, holy smokes, it's 20 minutes when I said the 20-minute mark. Oh my gosh. So, Cobb Vanth sits down, takes off his helmet. Mando's like, excuse me? Obviously you're not Mandalorian because you took off your freaking helmet. He's pretty shocked and is pretty freaking angry because he's like, that is Mandalorian armor. Give it back. You're not allowed to have it. So, he tells Vanth, give me the armor or else. A normal person might be afraid at that point, but Vanth is like, He doesn't even flinch. Oh, we're doing this, he says. His hands go down on his hip where his blaster's holstered. Cobb Vanth comes in. He's drinking 2 snorts of spotchka, which I guess is an alcoholic drink. 2 snorts, I'm guessing, is probably just 2 shots of spotchka. When he points to the... Oh, yes. Guys, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot about Baby Yoda. He is not with Pelimoto. He is with Mando the whole entire time. I completely forgot because there's a spittoon bucket and Baby Yoda hides in it. So, correction, Baby Yoda is in this whole episode. Sorry, Pelimoto. You cannot have Baby Yoda. Only for us viewers. So the child, Baby Yoda, is hanging out next to the spittoon, and he's like, are we seriously going to do this in front of the kid? And Mando's like, dude, he's seen worse. So they're both cool, super cool dudes. There's Baby Yoda's like, yeah, I seen worse. So they're about ready. Hands at the hips, fingers tingling. They're gonna shoot, and then all of a sudden, rumble, rumble, rumble. What the heck is this? So Vanth is like, oh, hold on a second. There's something. So then people are like, hide your kids, hide your moisture evaporators. I didn't read that off the Forbes website. I read that on my own. I'm pretty dang proud. Hide your moisture evaporators. So, this humongo creature is like swimming through the sand and eats this bantha. Now, if you don't know what a bantha is, they're those giant horned animal creatures that the Tusken Raiders ride. If you know some of your cool movie history, banthas back in the original trilogy were just circus elephants that were dressed up in bantha costumes. So that's pretty neat. So to put in contextually, to put into size, a bantha is about the size of a freaking elephant. And this dragon, the crate dragon that we find out here pretty soon, is swimming through the sand, comes through the whole entire city, and munches. He eats this thing. He eats this bantha up like a little pea. Like, what the heck, bro? That bantha didn't do nothing. So the crate dragon, which we find out has been terrorizing Mos Pelgo for as long as anyone can remember. Cobb Vanth is like, I have an idea. He tells Mando that he's been able to protect his town and his people with the help of the Mandalorian armor, but he can't take out the dragon. So if Mando will help him kill the beast, he'll happily hand over the armor without a fight. Everybody wins. Win, win, win. Naturally, Mando says, Mando and Vanth head off to the crate dragon lair, which we find out is an abandoned Sarlacc pit. Now, we've seen a Sarlacc pit once before in Return of the Jedi. We know the Sarlacc pit because at Jabba's party, and Han Solo, still pretty fresh out of that carbonite, cannot see, accidentally shoots Boba Fett's jetpack. Boba Fett flies into the Sarlacc pit, swallowing Boba Fett whole, and it's that weird clam thing in the sand with like tentacles and stuff. Pretty nasty. But Mando's like, Sarlacc pits are never abandoned. But it turns out the Krayt Dragon killed the Sarlacc and took his pit. Holy smokeroonies. So now we know that this Krayt Dragon is not to be messed with. So on their way to the lair encounter, they're going to the Krayt Dragon lair. These weird, odd-looking dogs, they're called Massiffs. They got nasty mouths. But then Mando starts talking in Tusken Raider talk, which is just a bunch of grunts and hand signals. And then the cute little Massiff Tusken Raider puppies come up and just wants to scritchy scratch. So Mando starts talking to them, and then Vanth is like, oh, what? So then the Sand People emerge. Cobb Vanth is like, excuse me, can't trust these people. They've raided our tiny village of one church, one bar, and a couple houses. Cannot trust these people. But Mando speaks fluent Tusken and says, he turns to Vanth and says, oh, the Tuskens want the Krayt Dragon dead as well and are willing to help. But Cobb Vanth is like, that's a stupid idea. So they camp with the Sand People that night, and Vanth, and one of their hosts comes to blow when when Cobb Vanth won't drink this like black smoky water. It's like a spore juice or something. And Cobb Vanth is like, I ain't drinking this stuff. And then one of the Tusken Raiders in their weird motion hand grunt language is like, well, you've been stealing, Mos Pelgo has been stealing the water. This is the only thing we've been drinking that's been replenishing our health because of the thirster, because we don't have moisture evaporators, and this freaking Tatooine heat of 2 suns is killing us, dude. And so, well, Tusken Raider actually didn't say that. I'm the interpreter. If I were there, I'd be talking like a sassy black woman. So Tusken Raider would be like, darling, you'll be drinking all our water. And then, sorry, you guys. So Mando stops the fight and is like, yo, listen, let's figure this out. It turns out that even between the two of them and the Tusken Raiders, they don't still have enough firepower to take on the Krayt Dragon. It's simply a big dragon. Too big of a boy. They're going to need help. And Mando offers the services of the Mos Pelgo citizenry, which is only like 5 people. Just kidding. It's probably about 40 people. Vanth doesn't like that, but agrees to try and convince his people. So they head back to Mos Pelgo just to do that. The townsfolk aren't happy about it, but everyone realizes that it's necessary to kill the Krayt Dragon. And if they don't, the Krayt Dragon could eat them for a 3-course meal. They're lucky to be alive, but besides this, there is a chance to make peace with the Tusken Raiders. Tensions are high when the Sand People show up, and the Mos Pelgians, I just came up with the name, probably not. The citizens of Mos Pelgos says, these people are bad people, but then they're like, okay, let's go to our armory and load up the banthas with explosives so we can kill this Krayt Dragon so we don't become a 5-star Michelin dinner. So one of the Tusken Raiders gets a little butterfingers with one of the explosives, and one of the Mos Pelgo people is like, this is so stupid. But then Cobb Vanth steps in and says, listen, it was an accident. We're not going to screw this up because I don't want to become a dinner. See? So they head back to the Krayt Dragon's lair. They have the whole setup. They got like if you think of giant medieval crossbows that are like anchored to the ground, they're digging trenches, putting explosives in, because because the Tusken Raiders know that a crate dragon, its weak spot is its stomach. So if they shoot him with these giant crossbows and tether them down, sorry for the jump in loudness. Like I said, my human fleshy arm isn't as good as my metal boom pole. So they're thinking, if we shoot this crate dragon with a giant crossbow and anchor them down, then we can pull them in to where the explosives are under its belly, and then Cobb Vanth can press the giant red button and explode it. So, seems like a pretty gosh darn good idea. So, the CGI for this crate dragon is nuts. Crate dragon also spits hot acid. We get to see a couple people get melted by this acid. Pretty nasty. It's not even like a super soaker. It's kind of just like a shower head of acid, but large enough to completely melt a Tusken Raider. So, the plan is to coax it far enough out to set off the explosives, to rumble its belly, and that's what they tell Mando. Turns out, not even a massive belly explosion does the trick. What the heck? Who saw that bad idea coming from a mile away? Don't ever trust the Tusken Raiders. The Sand People taunt the dragon to come out of its lairs. They have blasters, grenades. The the citizens of Mos Pelgo are throwing hand grenades. Everyone's trying to do its thing to get the crate dragon to come out farther, to put its belly onto these explosives. But then the monster disappears from underground, and it's not dead. Everyone thought it was dead, but not me. In the back of my mind is like, it can't end here. Moments later, what the heck? Not even moments later, dude. Like a couple seconds later, straight up deadpan to the top of the mountain, crate dragon explodes from the top of the mountain, spraying its acid. Mando and Vanth jetpack up there to get a closer look, shooting its blasters to annoy it, which is doing absolutely nothing. But they zoom out of there to retreat. Them jetpacks are so cool. If the Way of the Phoenix actually existed, I'd be a Mandalorian and fly the heck everywhere. So nothing's working. All seems lost. This is the point of like, we've reached the climax. I mean, we haven't even reached the climax yet. Well, I guess the climax was like, oh my gosh, there's a freaking dragon. But then we have this point of conflict like, dude, nothing's gonna work. But Mando, the smart boy he is, comes up with a plan. He has to get the crate dragon to eat him and a bantha loaded up with explosives. Once he gets swallowed with the bantha full of explosives, the creature disappears underground. And when it reemerges, Mando shocks the creatures with his mouth with that with that sniper with like a cattle prod at the end. He shocks the mouth. The guy's like, what did you do to me? My mouth, it stings. And then Mando, with the Way of the Phoenix, flies out of there with his jetpack and is like, I have saved the day. Hits the red button. Crate dragon explodes. Kaboom. Sorry, Bantha, you had to be the odd one out. So the crate dragon is slayed. Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. There's much rejoicing in their deal with Mos Pelgo. The Tuskens claim the crate dragon, and it's Ichor. Ichor means dead. So all they're doing is just cutting the meat off the crate dragon for food for years. This includes the crate dragon pearl. When I watched this, I originally thought it was an egg, which is bad. If there was another crate dragon, that would be bad. But one Tusken Raider stands up with this giant, it looks like about the size of a basketball, maybe a little bit bigger, but it's a really big pearl. Apparently, they roll around in the crate dragon's stomach to help them digest the food, and they're worth a small fortune. That came from the Ford website. if you want more, actually, let me check YouTube real quick. There's these guys really should follow them on YouTube. There are these guys on YouTube called New Rockstars. You should really check them out. They're super cool people. Eric usually does his Eric, the host, usually does breakdowns of movies and stuff. Came out yesterday. Every Easter egg and Boba Fett secret in season 2, episode 1. So I am going to watch that after I get done recording this to find some super secret Easter eggs, because he does super cool stuff. So shout out to New Rockstars. You guys are super freaking cool about doing Easter eggs and stuff. Watch those to get more, to get another review. Obviously watch them after you've listened to me. Seriously. So Mando takes some meat from the blaster, says his farewells. Vanth tells him that he hopes to their paths cross again. I forgot to mention this, so you might be wondering, even if you haven't watched it, which you should, how did Vanth get his armor from Boba Fett? So while the mining corporation came in to take their town, Vanth ran away with some expensive crystals, happened upon a sandcrawler full of Jawas. He set up there. Jawas give him some water. He's got a thing full of super expensive crystals, and they're like, here, take this R2 unit. Here, take this R5 unit. Take this blaster. But then Cobb Vanth looks over and sees the Boba Fett armor, and that's how he got it. So that was a quick side note. So Mando gets the armor. All is well. Krayt Dragon's dead. Tusken Raiders get it. It's a win-win, triple win situation. Baby Yoda is pretty dang happy with that giant hunk of Krayt meat that they just got. But we are not done. The final scene is the big reveal. We see a bald hermit of sorts standing in the desert, watching Mando speed away. This is Temuera Morrison, the actor who played Jango Fett in the prequel films. He's credited as Boba Fett in The Mandalorian, at least according to IMDb, which would mean that Fett survived the Sarlacc pit somehow and has been living in secret ever since. He's given up his Beskar steel and his life as a Mandalorian along with it. There's mystery there, and I'm sure we'll learn more for when the show unfolds. Now, what I've read in lore, this could be completely wrong because the books that I've skimmed through and read are not a part of Star Wars Disney canon right now. From what I've read, Boba Fett and Jango Fett stole Mandalorian armor. There were just a couple of thugs who took Mandalorian armor. So I heard that they weren't really Mandalorians, because if you watch the prequels, when you see Temuera Morrison play Jango Fett, he takes off his helmet. And obviously, if he was a real Mandalorian, he wouldn't have taken off his helmet. So I'm super excited. I cannot wait for episode 2 to come out Friday, November 6th. I will be watching that and eating it up. And guess what next episode of Some of Us podcast will be? It'll be about episode 2, season 2, The Mandalorian. That's right. You guys are so excited. I can tell you're excited. I can hear the crowd applauding right in front of my eyes. Nate, you're so cool. Wow, thanks for doing The Mandalorian, because not everyone else is doing it, obviously. There are 1,000 more people that are doing this better than I am about The Mandalorian. If you want to watch more, definitely give New Rockstars a look. They have so much cool content with Easter eggs and stuff. And like I said, I'll put a link to the video in the description box below if you guys want to watch that. So I cannot tell you how super excited I am to watch this episode on Friday. So episode 4 of the Some of Us podcast will be about episode 2 of season 2 of The Mandalorian. So I am super excited. So what are my thoughts on this episode? I can't tell you how happy I am to actually watch this. I've also heard of some speculation of an Obi-Wan series. Sorry, I bumped the table. I've heard of Obi-Wan Kenobi speculation over the internet for about a couple months now. I heard Ewan McGregor is going to be playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is fantastic. Apparently, this show will be taking place between when Obi-Wan Kenobi dropped Luke off in Tatooine and became a hermit, and from the time up right before he saw Luke on Tatooine in A New Hope. So these are going to be his like Tatooine experiences as an old hermit, running away from the Empire and being a retired Jedi. I can't wait to watch that because it's going to be so freaking awesome. You can't tell how much a nerd I am. I love Star Wars so much. And if I were able to hang up posters on my wall in my apartment, which they will not let me, there would be so many Star Wars posters. Right now, it's just video game posters that are scotch taped to my wall, which is not beautiful. I have a bunch of cool art that I cannot hang up on my wall, and that makes me sad. So, what do I rate this episode out of 10 awesome Star Wars points on Nate's scale of awesome Star Wars points? Let's go. So, out of storytelling, this was a story within itself. I like how every episode has its own story. It has its own like sub-story out of the whole Mandalorian story. First, Mando Din Djarin is like, hey, I need to figure out the race of the child, which, as you know, no one knows, because we've only seen 2 versions of Yoda's species, which is Yoda and Yaddle. Yaddle was in the prequels. She was like a female version of Yoda. And then we have the child, which everyone is calling Baby Yoda. But it isn't Baby Yoda. It's just, it looks like a child-sized version of Yoda. Even though it's not even a baby, it's only 50 years old. So cute. He's so cute. I wanna poke its little face. So I really like the sub story of like Mando needs to figure out the race of and bring it back to its home planet, but in order to do that he needs to find more Mandalorians. And so then he goes to Tatooine, and then when he gets to Tatooine they show another conflict in the way of the story, and I love that because then you get to hear more music from Ludwig Göransson. You get to see more characters such as Cobb Vanth, played by Timothy Oliphant. You get to see just more of the world, and I can't be more excited. My dad really turned me on to Star Wars when I was a little kid because my grandmother, who passed away when I was about 1, she was really into that stuff, Star Wars and Indiana Jones and stuff. And my grandmother took my dad to go see, at that time, in 1977, it was just called Star Wars. It wasn't even called A New Hope. And my dad, I think he told me he went to go see it in the theaters so many times. And yeah, he might not be as well versed in Star Wars lore as I am because I'm a huge freaking nerd about it, but he really turned me on to love for Star Wars because that was his nerd thing growing up. I mean, I have Marvel comics that are Star Wars Marvel comics that are way older than me, and they're fantastic. He showed me a picture of what his room looked like when he was in high school, and he had these Star Wars A New Hope album on vinyl that was the original score by John Williams. And nothing on John Williams. I mean, this man is a god among movie scores and stuff. But Ludwig Göransson is doing fantastic with the music score for The Mandalorian. It's so good. I mean, it's a nice difference from the orchestral music and the choirs and stuff. With Ludwig Göransson, it has this Western type, like spaghetti Western music. It's so good. And so my Nate Star Wars points Disney Plus Mandalorian score for season 2 episode 1 of The Mandalorian, titled The Marshal. I am giving it 10 out of 10. 10 Star Wars out of 10 Star Wars. This episode was wow. I'm definitely probably gonna very much watch it again. That isn't even grammatically correct, but that's how excited I am with Star Wars. Oh, shout out to another person who turned me on to Star Wars. My cousin, 9 or 10 years older than me. Growing up, he had a bunch of Legos that were Star Wars themed. So he had a Death Star, and he had a Sandcrawler, and I was so jealous. I was so jealous, and I played the best video game of all time, which is Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, with him on his Xbox 360 in his dark, dim, macabre basement when I was a kid. And I mean, he showed his love for Star Wars to me through video games and Legos, and my dad showed his love for Star Wars through the movies. And then I did my own thing with like the lore. So, but I did see a meme. I did see a meme online which was hilarious, and it was like giving no spoilers for season 2 episode 1, but all it showed was the worm from SpongeBob with his tongue tied and Sandy standing on the tongue. And I think that perfectly summed up what this whole episode was. It's pretty funny. But the CGI was fantastic. The music was fantastic. The cinematography was fantastic. Everyone killed it. Even the child. This episode was so good. I cannot explain how fun it was to watch, and I cannot wait for November 6th for episode 2. Thank you guys so much for listening to Some of Us episode 3. Somewhere I'll probably find a title for this episode. I'll probably just name it the title of, I'll just probably call it The Marshal, My Mandalorian Review. So thank you guys so much for listening. You can follow me on social medias. I will be posting them as usual in the description box below, including the new Rockstars subscription page, because you guys definitely should subscribe to them if you are complete nerds like me. I will also be crediting the music that I will have being played in the background of this, if I can find a 50-minute copyright-free music. But follow me on my social medias. If you guys liking and commenting my videos, also subscribing helps out substantially, because that lets me know if you guys want more of what I'm putting out here. If you guys also want to support me more thoroughly, you can consider becoming a Patreon, and the lowest tier is just $5. So thank you guys so much for listening to my excitement and me being a geek and a nerd about this freaking amazing show. Thank you guys. Thank you. I cannot thank you guys enough for listening to this. This has been episode 3, The Marshal, with Nate and the Sum of Us, because we love Star Wars. See you guys next week for season 2, episode 2. I cannot wait. I am so excited. Goodbye.